Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is another presentation in English. I don't really know Finnish, maybe except one word. Vaimo means in fact wife, they told me. I'm not going to talk about that in the coming 20 minutes, not because it's complicated, but that might take more time. Vaimo also means something else. Vaimo also means, oops, that's too fast. Vaimo also means heart, and at the heart of what we do is building great experiences for end consumers. I'm personally responsible for the go-to-market for the customer data insights and activation at Vaimo, and we're working for many leading brands to help them optimize their experiences. What I will do in my presentation is I will share some of the best practices, things that you should focus on as an organization to succeed in this journey. I must say, I see a lot of similarities with the previous presentation, which is a great case of how they applied it. So I'll try to add in a few specific elements here and there. But let's first have a look at why we should focus on personalization. Research shows that 71%, vast majority of the consumers, is really demanding a more personalized experience. We also see that the vast majority is much more likely to go to the purchasing from a brand when that happens. And a similar amount is also saying that they would leave if this experience is not relevant, is not accurate, is not personalized. So from a consumer point of view, it's very clear that consumers are demanding this kind of experiences. Next to that, we also see that it has a positive impact on the company results. Research shows that companies that really do personalization right can increase their turnover by 10 to 15%, and the real leaders even can go up to 25%. So we do see that both from a consumer point of view, they need it, and from a business point of view, it really shows that there is value for the business. So we know now why we should do it. Let's have a look at the different levels of maturity that we can have. First of all, very simple, you don't have any personalization, and it basically means that any content, any interaction, any product that you offer is all the same thing, right? It's one size fits all. Second possibility is that you start experimenting with personalization, and that could be a single channel personalization where often it's provided by a point solution. For example, your web content management solution is offering in the search a personalization or any of the other channels that you might have. A third one is that you are doing that cross-channel. So you have some kind of interaction to know exactly like, okay, what is this customer needing? What is the interest? There is not yet a full centralized view of that customer, but it starts to go in the right direction, right? This is what we call cross-channel personalization. If you do have the centralized view of the customer, we call that omni-channel personalization, and that basically means that you are able to optimize and personalize the experience across all touch points, because you have the central view of the customer to identify like, okay, this person showed interest on the website to a certain product, or maybe they already bought it in the branch that we have, in the physical branch. So that is omni-channel personalization. And the last one, this is really, let's say, the whole holy grail of personalization, is the unified personalization, where you have this 360 view, and moreover, you have a unified data model, where you're really able to use that data and to use machine learning, artificial intelligence to really optimize that further, to identify next best offer or the customers that are most likely to buy, and so on and so on. Now I have a question for you. Which level of maturity do you have in your organization? So now you can show the poll, maybe the technical people. I don't know if you can show that on the screen so people can join the poll. Yes, there we go. So again, from top down, it's lowest maturity to the ultimate level of personalization. So please be honest, it's not an exam. You can't make any mistakes. It's anonymous, so don't worry. All right, I think this gives a good view. Interesting. Yeah. Good, so we're somewhere in the middle, right? We see that, in fact, yeah, second to third level, single channel personalization and cross channel. That shows the average maturity in your organizations, which I see also in other regions that this is a bit the average maturity. So that means that there is work to do to improve that, right? We saw already why it's so important. So let's have a look on how to start with that. Now you can show the slides again. Yeah. The first thing might sound very obvious. You need to define your success. You need to define your vision. You need to have this mission defined. The previous case showed that very well. This is very obvious, but it can be very complex because it's quite a transformation that you have to go through as an organization from the traditional way of working versus the fully optimized way of working from a customer point of view, right? So it all starts with a clarified vision, because the vision is really giving you the direction. It's long-term, it's typically 3 to 5 years. It should be very bold, and it gives the guidance in the whole change that you're about to do. Then you have to make that, of course, more specific. You will have objectives, for example, per year, and key results on a quarterly or even monthly basis. So that trickles down to the operational level. This is the starting point, but during that transformation, of course, you have to lead that change in the organization. It's not that you define this vision, this mission, you put some KPIs and the rest will happen. You really have to make sure that there is a sense of urgency in the organization. To avoid people getting back to their business as usual, you really have to create a sense of urgency. One way of doing it is really have a very bold ambition. Like, okay, we have 1 billion turnover now. In 4 years, we want to grow to 2 billion. That's a bold ambition. That also means we cannot do exactly the same thing as we're doing today in the organization. We have to change. We can't simply double the people. We have to change probably some tools, some processes, maybe some new expertise needs to be onboarded, training needs to be given, and so on. So this sense of urgency is really key during the whole transition. What's also important is that you have this guiding coalition to drive the change forward. Sometimes you have a strong leader, could be the CEO, doesn't have to be, but could be, that has the strong vision to move forward. But you need to have people around to really drive that change, even in difficult times, because there will be resistance. There will be resistance in any company, it's like that. And so it's important to tackle that and to manage that, right? Communication is, of course, key. During the whole transition, you need to communicate the vision. You need to communicate why we're doing these things. You also need to empower the people and get rid of obstacles. So don't protect your holy houses like, okay, we just implemented last year this new marketing automation tool. Maybe it doesn't fit your vision. So then, okay, you need to take a step to move forward. Maybe it's not the first one, but don't stick to those holy houses. Look at the higher level vision. What's also important is that you still generate short-term wins and don't celebrate victory too soon. You need to keep the sense of urgency, right? Because the organization needs to shift into this new reality. So this sense of urgency is really key to make that happen. Another thing that we need, also discussed in the previous presentation, is of course single view of the customer, right? Why do we need it? The customer nowadays has an average in the Nordics, 8 connected devices. In some other regions it's more or less, but it means that the customer journey is really scattered, right? We use a lot of different devices. We are connected all the time almost. So we might be on the road, we might be at work, whatever it is. The customer journey is really scattered and it's not linear like it used to be. It's more big phases that we have and customer are jumping back and forth. So it's very hard to keep track of what are these customers now really interested in, what do they need, what do they want. So that's the first thing. What we also see is that in average organizations, customer data is really scattered across different platforms. So in average, it's 16 data sources to leverage the customer data, and for really getting insights and engagement, it grows easily to 25 data sources. Of course, if you're in an international organization with multiple brands, this can easily go way up. So how do we do that then? How do we come to this so-called golden record of a consumer? We need to have strong data collection where we are able to bring these different data sources together using different identities. That might be customer ID, might be email, it might be device ID, it might be an anonymous ID when I visit the website, and once I log in, I could stitch that back to my customer ID. There's a lot of scenarios there. And in the journey of a customer, these are all different identities at some point, right? And the platform needs to be able to stitch them together as, okay, this is about the same person. So this seems maybe easier than it is, but you have very good dedicated platforms nowadays that facilitate this. That platform also needs to facilitate you to enrich these customer profiles in real time. I already talked about the identities and the stitching. You also need to have a unified data model to facilitate working in real time or near real time whenever it's needed. What's important is the governance. So you also need to know like which elements of that data can I use in which context. Was there a consent? Did I have a partnership with another company to exchange data? Can I use that data? Yes or no? All these kind of use cases need to be facilitated in your platform. And the third one is, of course, we need to use that data. We need to activate that data across the different activation channels, advertising, or the digital-owned channels like websites, application, or different customer systems. So this is a single view of customer. We also need a single view of product. If you think about a typical customer journey today, it is so scattered. You need so many different assets, so many different product images, maybe in different formats, maybe a bit personalized with a different background because we're in the mountains or it's about, or it's raining, whatever. Whatever the use case is for you, you need to be able to personalize this based on the context. So that means that this is really building up fast. This is a very simplified example, right? So please bear with me. 1,000 products for some is very little. If you're a bank, you might have 50 products, but millions of customers. Maybe you're a retailer with multiple 10,000s, 100,000 products. So, but bear with me. So 1,000 products, imagine 25 assets per product, really building up fast. If you're active in several regions, and if you then have thousands of customers and contacts, this goes into the millions or easily trillions, depending on your case. You can do the math for yourself. This means that it will become impossible to manage this in a traditional way of working. You need to have new platforms, you need to have new processes in place to facilitate this. So, single view of products. What's also important is to know that great experiences are not created. You cannot bring together the best designer, the best UXer, and then think like, okay, now we have it, now the website is there as part of our experience. Great experiences are crafted. It's a continuous process that you have to go through to learn, understand, and improve. In the end, you need to start high level with your vision, objectives, and so on in the discovery phase. You need to design your solution, you need to deploy it, adopt it, make sure that it's adopted in the organization, and then you can evolve to customer journey orchestration. This is, in fact, in a nutshell, what we mean with optimizing the customer journey across all channels in a unified way. Customer journey orchestration is the process you need. So first build your capabilities, and then you have user stories that are really going much faster, right? I'm moving ahead because I see I don't have that much time left anymore. The last thing I want to talk about is the culture you have in the company. You need to have a culture of failure. You need to foster this culture of failure. What's very often the case is that companies or a CEO has a very bold vision, like we want to achieve this. But imagine that the team that needs to work on it doesn't have the availability to fail in this process. Then it won't work. You need to foster that culture of failure. You need to allow them to fail. The objectives are fixed, but the way to get there should be flexible, right? And you need to give people this freedom to work within that space. Like, failing is okay as long as we learn from it and we learn fast from it. This also requires that you have the right people, the people with the right mindset to do it. And as I said, failing is okay, but you need to fail fast. Key takeaways that I want to give is start with your purpose. Dream big, start small, but always with the long-term vision in mind. Don't focus on the short-term fixes only, the sort of duct tape approach. It will take you only so far, but you will not reach that bold vision. You will never do that. Secondly, make sure that you have the single view of customer, the single view of product. That means capabilities in the tools, but also processes and people, obviously. Make sure that you have the future-proof platform for optimization at scale. So again, not focus only on the short term, but have the foundation platform in place, and see personalization as a continuous process for improvement. And the fifth one, really key, embrace this culture of failure. Failing is okay as long as you learn from it. I see we still have a little bit of time, so I'd like to have the last poll presented on the screen, please. So last question for you. If you look at your organization the coming 12 months, what is your priority? Is it clarifying the mission, objectives, use cases, the business case, roadmap, more the starting point? Or is it improving the customer data infrastructure? Or is it improving, now it's already switched. You can see the options. Or is it improving product content and asset management? Yeah, one of the four. Or journey orchestration and personalization. That was the last one. All right, I still see some movement. Just wait a little bit. Okay, this basically shows that there is quite some foundation already there with most of you, and you're ready to step into the cross-channel journey orchestration, including personalization. Thanks for your attention. That was my presentation.